Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm here to talk about two episodes of Shadowhunters. Episode 218, titled Awake, Arise, or Be Forever Fallen, which premiered Monday, July 31st, 2017 on Freeform, as well as episode 219, titled Hail and Farewell, which premiered Monday, August 7th, 2017 on Freeform. And guys, I'm recording on August 10th. So with that said, huge spoiler alert for the two episodes. If you haven't seen them already, please go do so first. Go check Netflix if you have it. It's definitely there, good quality. Otherwise, other video reminders are on screen right now. Take a moment to remind yourselves of those. So just huge spoiler alert for sure, as well as a little for the books if anything pops up in my head as I'm doing this. But let's start the 20-minute clock, and let's begin with what happened in 218. So the timeline, it continues straight from 217 with Max and Sebastian, who Max confronted him as being Jonathan, from the looks of it. Yes, actually. Okay. So episode reminder for 218 is the fact that they are searching for Jonathan, who they do not know is hiding as Sebastian. So first moment of the episode actually deals with Sebastian dealing with Max, knowing that he is Jonathan Morgenstern, and the fallout from that. But the episode breakdown for 218 is three different storylines that I found, pretty much finding Jonathan, second being the werewolf attack, third one being the Sealy Corp. So with the first one, you are dealing with an institute lockdown for Jonathan once they realize that his attack on Max inside the institute walls means that he's masquerading as one of their own. So Sebastian ends up getting his hands on the mortal mirror. He kills a bunch of elite guards by doing this. Also, we have Valentine's research showing that Jonathan having an extreme reaction to electrum, which is actually found in Isabel's whip. And we also get Clary exposing Sebastian as her brother Jonathan. So there's that. Second storyline deals with a werewolf attack. So we get Simon and Maya finding a guy named a mundane named Bartholomew, aka Bat, as he likes to be called, after he was scratched by a wolfed out Russell. This happens at the tail end of Simon and Maya's paddleboat date. So because of this incident, it has Maya revisiting her time as a new wolf and that whole period of her transitioning and stuff like that. We find out it's actually her ex-boyfriend Jordan who had turned her into a werewolf. So there's that. We also see Luke winning an alpha challenge match against Russell, and all the wolves who meant to leave to go to Philadelphia with Russell end up rejoining Luke's New York pack. So there's that. Now, the third one deals with Sealy Court, and that pretty much pertains to Magnus and Luke going to see the Sealy Queen, and this is where she offers a proposal. And Magnus has until the flower she gives him turns black to decide whether or not he will side with her and cut ties with the Shadowhunters, or side with the Shadowhunters and fare for himself and his kind against the upcoming threat the Clave and Valentine pose towards the Downworld. So because of this, we get flashbacks of the progress between Magnus and Alec. The first flashback being when Alec takes Magnus up for having those drinks together, and this is around the time when Alec has only known Clary for 5 days, and then progress to two more flashbacks to when they had their first time together, and as well as when they wake up together in bed. Don't know if that third one is immediately the next day after the second flashback, or if it's just another moment when they wake up together in the morning. It's just shared like that. So there's that. In the end, Magnus decides to put his people before Alec, because he has to think as a leader and protect them. So there's that. Last moments of 218 were Clary figuring out that the mortal mirror is actually Lake Lynn and not the little pocket mirror that Sebastian tried to take from the Institute. So there's that. Character-wise, we see the return of Max Lightwood, who fights for his life after facing Jonathan, who pretty much bashed his head into a desk, rendering him unconscious and comatose for a bit. We see the return of his parents, Robert and Maris Lightwood. They come to be there for Max. They're putting aside their very tense and complicated relationship towards each other to focus on their son. So there's that. Even with Alec and Isabel, they don't bring any of the whole cheating scandal between their parents. They're all solely focused on the youngest of their family. So there's that. We also get Brother Enoch. He's one of the Silent Brothers. He's pretty much acting as a doctor for Max and trying to state his prognosis and stuff like that. So there's that. We meet Monday, who is newly turned into a werewolf, named Bartholomew Velasquez, aka Bat. So there's that. Very strange nickname considering Bat usually references to vampires, but I would have thought Bart, but there's no R in his nickname, so there's that. Also, we see the return of Russell, the werewolf that had gone to Philly, apparently. He then challenges Luke, only to lose, and instead of being killed, as the old pack rules state, the Alpha challenge is supposed to be fight to the death. Luke doesn't kill him, so smart move on that part, just because they're already a dying race to begin with, and kind of a bad part because that means that Russell could always overthrow Luke if he ever wanted to again. So there's that. We also see the return of Ollie and her girlfriend Samantha, and they end up getting footage of Luke confirming the existence of the New York werewolf pack at the Jade Wolf after they planted a camera to spy on the patrons of the Chinese restaurant. So there is that. Based off runes, though, we get the Aratsi rune being mentioned again and failing in regards to Max. We get Clary's new nullifying rune. Don't know if it's the exact same nullifying rune she used on the Soul Sword to deactivate it, but she tried it with the pocket mirror version of the Mortal Mirror, only to have it turn into ash, which is what has her questioning whether or not she actually did try to destroy it or not. So there's that. Also, I'm not sure if this rune was Clary's rune that she just discovered that she created in the moment, or if it's an actual rune that we just haven't seen before. But it was the rune used to shatter the elevator's glass door, which allowed Clary to escape from Jonathan when he had her trapped inside there with him. So there's that. Not sure if it's a new rune outside of the Grey Book or if it's actually a rune from the Grey Book. So there's that. Tidbit, though, is the fact that the Silent Brothers had a rare treatment for severe injuries, yet very few Shadowhunters have survived it. But they did that treatment on Max to either save his life or otherwise he stays comatose. So there's that. Moving on to 219, though. So this timeline is pretty much the next day after the events of 218. Though for the real Sebastian Verlac, he has only been dead for a few days, and he was killed, I believe, at the very beginning of the part 2 of the season. So it was maybe a few episodes back, maybe 216 maybe? I think it was 215. I think it was killed in 215. Because 216, which was Paul Wesley's episode, was when Jonathan had Valentine in his custody and he was still chained up. I think. Pretty sure. Okay. Anyways, episode reminder, though, for 219 is the fact that we are hunting down Valentine and Sebastian, who everyone now knows is Jonathan Morgenstern. So there is that. The first moments of this episode is that Sebastian is letting out his rage and frustrations on a rooftop, shouting at the top of his lungs, punching anything he can, destroying things in his path, as he tries to deal with the fact that he not only failed, but his cover's been blown at the Institute, and he lost the mortal mirror to his sister, who ended up stabbing him a few times despite his weird feelings for her. So there's that. Now, the breakdown for the episode, it's really focused on one thing, and that is searching for Valentine and Jonathan. Now, that main thing is then divided into different groups trying to achieve that same goal. So again, our main Shadowhunters discover the dead body of the real Sebastian Verlac, so there's that. We also see a divide within the shadow world, or within the down world, sorry, and this has the Seelie Queen uniting them all, and she says no to helping the Shadowhunters find Valentine and Jonathan. So instead, she gets a different downworld factions to do their part in stopping Valentine. So she has the Warlocks put up wards over the city to trap all Shadowhunters inside. So anyone with Nephilim blood cannot leave the city or they be vaporized. We get the werewolves hunting down Circle members as they close in on Valentine. And then we also have Clary and Jace tracking Sebastian down with their own combined pure angel blood. So we got 3 different factions actively searching for Valentine and Jonathan. Now, with all that, though, we see a fight with the Forsaken, which again are mundanes with Shadowhunter runes drawn on them, which have driven them mad, and kind of into zombie-like beings that are very fast. And then we also see a fight between Jace and Sebastian on a bridge, with a little bit of Izzy thrown in there as well. So there's that. Now, the last moments of the episode show the Seelie Queen agreeing to talk about a deal with Valentine, and this version of the Seelie Queen is played by Sarah Hyland. So there's that. Even the new version of the Seelie Queen, because we see both versions of her. We see the little girl version during the whole kiss game that we got a few episodes back, and then now we see a little older version of the queen portrayed by Sarah Hyland. So it's a little weird having that difference, but I guess her explanation makes sense in a way. It plays mind games, and I'm with Simon with his reaction to that. So anyways, with characters though, we see the return of Imogen Herondale, who is still in Idris, and she's updated by Alec, Clary, and Jace about Sebastian being Jonathan and about the Mortal Mirror being Lakeland. Also with Dot, we get confirmation from Clary that Dot is dead, or she keeps making references to the fact that she has lost her. But we don't see her in the episode though. So there's that. Again, we get mentions to Eileen Penhollow, we get her name this time, and it's mentioned that she'll be delivering the terrible news about Sebastian to the Verlac family, since she is his cousin. So there is that. We also get a mentions of a Council Mikhail, mentioned by Imogen Herondale, and it was mentioned in regards to when the Idris guards are brought up. So I'm assuming he's maybe like the general of some sort, so it could be possible. We see the return of little Madzi, and I believe her caretaker being Katarina. She's a warlock that works as an ER nurse, and from the quick little dynamic we get of Katarina and Madzi, I'm under the impression that Katarina is looking out for Madzi at the moment, since her quote-unquote grandma is still locked away in Idris for her crimes. So there's that. Moving on to runes, though, we get Clary's new tracking rune, or her new ritual, I guess you could say, that she used with Jace to find Jonathan. We also get Jonathan's anti-tracking rune, which kind of doesn't work against Clary's new tracking rune, but it's the Z that's on his arm. That's the anti-tracking rune. Pretty sure, doesn't someone else have that Z mark as well? So there's that. Also, we see again the first rune. It was given to the Mondays in the cemetery, which turned them into Forsakens, and it's also the same rune that Max had gotten at his rune ceremony. So I'm associating it with it being the first rune, and it's that rune that we always associate whenever we see Shadowhunters. It's that symbol. It's that show symbol, I guess you could say. And it's all over the Institute, too. So there's that. Now, tidbits, though. We do get the official Shadowhunter goodbye whenever they see a fallen warrior, and that is Hail and Farewell. Ave Octe Veil or something that Jay says the first time, but afterwards it's translated to Hail and Farewell. So there's that. We also have Valentine having an operative in Alicante that had heard about Lakeland being the mirror. So that operative has to be part of the guard in Idris somehow, after they were given orders to protect the lake. So there's that. We get Maya confirming that she is in fact dating Simon now, which he's happy about. Same episode that Clary finds out too, and she's happy for Simon from the looks of it as well. We also get Russell refusing to take orders from Maya. He will only do it from Luke as his alpha, because we see Simon trying to bring in the whole beta wolf leadership terminology into it, just because theoretically if the alpha is not there, the beta is supposed to take second in command, although the werewolf seemed a little confused by that, so we don't know if it's just actually part of the werewolf lore or if it's just something Simon picked up off of his readings or his shows or stuff like that. So there's that. Also, we see Maya getting drugged and taken to the Sealy Court at the very end of the episode. And we also see Raphael telling Isabel that he made a mistake in refusing to be with her when she had approached him earlier on about that. A few episodes, I believe. So there's that. Moving on, though, to a most shocking moment of the episode. So for 218, because I have read up to book 3, City of Glass, my shocking moment, because I already had those spoilers, was the fact that Ollie had gotten proof of the existence of werewolves, and she was pretty much telling Sam, well, now do you believe me type thing. That was a shocker. I did not expect that, but I kind of should have figured it. Anytime Ollie appears on screen, she does something to just mess up the dynamic, which I'll get into in a moment. But if I had not read the books, any of the books really, then I'd have to say the shocking moment would have to be the discovery that Lake Lynn is the actual mortal mirror that everyone's been hunting down, which makes more sense. I mean, to be fair, when it first revealed that it was this little compact mirror that they had found in previous episode, I did have this feeling that that was just too easy. There's no way I kept thinking I was misremembering it. I thought it was a lake of, like, it was a big body of water of some sort, because I do remember the angel being raised from the water with when the three instruments were united. So I kept wondering, well, did they change that aspect? And then with the discovery of the fact that the lake is actually the mortal mirror, it did trigger that memory. So if I hadn't read the books, that would have been the surprise, but because I read the books and I still remembered faded inklings of it, that's why I wasn't surprised by it. But it does reset a few gears in my head about the books. It's been like a decade since I've read them, since I read the first three. So there's that. Now for 219 though, I have a few shocking moments actually. One, it was a shock factor in the sense that it scared me when it happened, and it was when that possessing demon took over Sebastian's body. It was just after they had done the hail and farewell speech together, and then all of a sudden his Sebastian's body starting to shake. Because it's the first time, I didn't think if the shaking of the body was something that was supposed to happen. I thought at first, once his body started shaking, maybe some light is supposed to come down on the fallen Shadowhunter, and then it's supposed to like be taken up to the angels or something, some type of show of transportation, or of it being moved on to the next stage of whatever happens to Shadowhunters afterwards. I thought that's what's going to happen. And then to have it, the eyes suddenly open, the face snap up, and then the growling, that freaked me out. It's like, that was a huge in the moment shock, because also I have my two headphones in. I have it on full blast so I can hear the what they're saying and stuff. And it terrified me in that moment. It's just like quick and like, so yeah, so that was a shock moment in its true name itself. But plot-wise, though, another shock was that Jace actually killed Jonathan, or at least it appeared that he killed Jonathan, because I don't think you can ever come back, whether you have demon blood or not, with you being stabbed in the spine, which went directly up to the heart, because it was the same spot that Jonathan was goading Jace about having learned, and then also being thrown off a bridge and landing in a rushing current of the river. It's like, how can you survive that type of thing, regardless of whether you have demon blood or not, or regardless of being a Shadowhunter or not? So that was a surprise. I wasn't expecting that for sure in their first showdown between them. And I'm sorry for the cut in that audio. Apparently your recording immediately stops the moment your phone starts to ring, which I did not know about. So resuming all timing stuff. Another thing that did shock me was the fact that Valentine was striking a deal with the Sealy Queen, and she was actually considering making a deal with him after she put all this effort in being the one controlling the downworld and having all the different factions go to her and be loyal to her, or as loyal as you can be. It was surprising. Yeah, I'm not surprised because I don't trust the queen to begin with, but it kind of makes me wonder what exactly Valentine has that she would want, that has her wanting to have that little walk and talk with him. So there's that. But moving on to top 3 favorite moments. For 218, I have to say my favorite was the scene where Clary realizes that Lake Lynn is the mortal mirror. I mean, that scene in particular where she's talking with Alec and Isabel and Jace about it, and then she's just putting the pieces together. It definitely explains the vision she had a lot clearer. Yeah, because also the fact that she sees a reflection in the Lake Lynn when she's drowning, she sees a reflection of herself, and then she also sees the reflection of the soul sword coming at her. There's that. I thought it meant something totally different when it came to the vision, but it was great to just see how that all played out and how she made the connections and stuff like that. So that was a great scene that I liked. Another thing I liked about 218 was the flashbacks we got to see of Magnus and Alec. It was great to see them as they hit these key mile markers we maybe couldn't have seen as they were happening for them in previous episodes, but by doing it this way, it really shows how far they've come, because just seeing how much of a change Alec has done, you see him being a little you see the both of them kind of be like, oh, we gotta hide this. This won't be happening again type of thing. They have their reputations to worry about, and then seeing them to the point where they are together, they're openly together, and they're happy about it, and they're like trying to make a life for themselves with each other. It's just a huge difference, yet seeing it all segmented in flashbacks like that in one episode, it makes the growth between them so much more apparent, which I really liked. It's just like, because when they first had that first drink together, 5 days after Alec had met Clary, it's like for them it was only 5 days, but like for us, it's been what, 2 years ago since that happened, or since that time had happened for them. So it's been a while. Plus, also, it makes you kind of wonder, okay, if at that time it's only been 5 days that Clary's been in Alec's life, then how long has it actually been for them over the span of Clary being introduced to the Shadow World, so her 18th birthday, to now where she just came face to face with her brother and Jace just killed him? So, like, how long has that been? So there's that. But another thing I like was the confrontation between Clary and Sebastian. Just the way she attacked him when he pretty much had the upper hand was pretty cool. It kind of showed that she was putting her training in use. She wasn't just struggling. She actually had a plan, and she had key striking points in order to gain an advantage against him. So it was pretty interesting. Plus, we never really had them in close contact where she actually knew for a fact that this is her brother who's pretty much choking the life out of her, and yet the whole time he knew who she was. So it was an interesting dynamic to see. And also, just another thing I liked about 218 was just Simon and Maya. I really like how they're progressing. I really like how he's learning all these little things about her, and how they're just trying to make things work for them. So there's that. But moving to 219, though, since the timer already went off, I'm definitely longer than I should. But I really like the fight scenes in 219. We get Jace versus Jonathan, or the fight of the two JCs, as they had put it. You also see the fight scenes with Jace, Alec, Izzy, and Clary going against the Forsaken. It definitely brought me back to some Season 1 vibes when they had all 4 of them in the field together. So that was great to see. And then it was also great to see Isabel going against Jonathan. In particular, for hers, it wasn't just her whipping her whip at him like that and him just grabbing it and pulling it. It was her words against him that are what I liked about that particular fight scene, because she was saying how she took him in, she trusted him, and she made her so vulnerable against him, and all along he's been playing her, and it's just like a huge betrayal on her part. It was really great to hear that come from her, and so there's that. Another thing I liked about this episode was Jason Clary in general. We get not only do we get that whole pure angel blood connection thing they try to do to track Jonathan down, but they also, their bedside confessions at the end, which led to them kissing. So I really like that, though. But their moment with them trying to track down Jonathan, I have mixed feelings about how that was done. I get that they were supposed to make it to the point that it was a huge connection, the fact that they were touching, he was holding her, he was activating her runes, and she was establishing a bigger connection between the two of them when she drew her new rune on both of them. So I know that certain aspects of it had to be done, but it was the way it was done. It just gave me this whole cheesed out moment. It's just like, really? You're really like going over the top here. It's like going over the top with the flirting when you're trying to find your brother type of thing, and then like just getting really charged up in a scene where you're supposed to be working, or you're just not having your head in the game. I don't know. I had mixed feelings about it. On the one hand, I like them flirting. They haven't flirted at all in a long time, and yet the situation kind of made it cheesy in a sense. So I had mixed feelings about that scene, but I did love the bedside confessions they had with each other. So there's that. And another favorite I had for 219 was the Simon and Maya again. Just happy vibes between them. We're learning a lot about each other. Yes, it sucked when bad memories had to pop back up and kind of have them relive it. But when they were just teasing each other and then just commenting on the fact that we're actually doing some normal stuff. It's not just us being downworlders. I have college to worry about. I have a girlfriend. I'm going on dates with her. It's like we're just being normal in a sense. It was just great to have them relishing in that normalcy for a little moment. So there's that. But moving on to top 3 peeve moments. For 218, my good friend Jen already knew what peeve I was going to have before I even watched the episode. She even messaged me that she already knew what peeve I was going to have. And I was like, well, what peeve? And then the moment I finished the episode, I'm like, yeah, you got me. That one is a peeve. And it is the fact that Ollie and Sam got proof of the werewolves. I mean, I've come to know that anything they do doesn't make sense. How is no one questioning what they're doing? And yet, they're getting in things they shouldn't be getting into, to the point that I don't care if they end up being victims to the shadow world. So, there's that. I don't like it at all, and they annoy me. And the fact that the girlfriend, Sam, she's being dragged into this, you're just, no. There's a time, even... This is also a thing that bugs me too, though, because for Ollie, she's taking this investigation from a cop's point of view. Why would you bring your significant other into your work investigation? That's like causing a whole bunch of trouble right there. You should be keeping your love life out of your work life, especially with something dangerous as police work like this. You definitely shouldn't mix the two, because that's just causing for trouble. And look what it does. It's definitely putting a target on both their backs now. So there's that. I just don't like the two. Well, I don't like Ollie the most. I don't mind Sam. Sam seems fine. Ollie, I have an issue with her. Still. She's too nosy for her own good. And there should be consequences. People should know to butt out when they're not supposed to butt in. So there's that. Another peeve I had about 218, though, was the fact that Max had survived Brother Enoch's treatment. Because I'm not peeved that he survived. I'm peeved by the fact that he survived this treatment. As treatment that they had pretty much previewed, or what's the word? They pretty much prefaced the fact that it was a low survival rate for this very rare treatment, and those very few survived it. It's only the severe and no going back, this is the only way type of treatment to do. And they do it on Max, and he survives it with no consequences. That does not, because first off, Max is not, he's not experienced enough, he's not strong enough fighter, just because he's younger, so his body hasn't gotten used to certain things. He hasn't even processed runes properly since what? It's maybe been a few months since he actually got his first rune. So it's like, to me, it doesn't make sense. Unless the only way he survived was because the younger you are, the higher your rate of survival is, which is just stupid as well. But like, it really bugged me that the whole time they were building up this treatment being very serious, very deadly. You have very low risk of surviving, and if you did, then it would be a miracle. And yet the miracle happened. So it's just like, really? You're gonna have no consequences for Max whatsoever. If he survived, I expect something to be taken away from it. Like, he had to have lost something in order to survive such an extremely dangerous treatment. I mean, like, unless his saving grace was the fact that he was a kid who have higher survival rates in this treatment, then okay, loophole. But like, that just pisses me off too. So there's that. I'll move on to 219. And an issue I had there was the fact that the Seelie Queen has control over the downworld now. And then she starts considering a deal with Valentine. And then she says previously that she doesn't trust Shadowhunters. And yet she's trying to make a deal with one. And one of the most deadliest of them, who's trying to kill her. So it's like, really? Hypocrite are you much? Because I mean, like, no. I already don't trust you be the complete leader of the downworld. You have Magnus under your thumb. You have Luke under your thumb now. And you have, who else am I missing here? You have Raphael under your thumb. It's just like, no. No. It's just, ugh. For a being who can't lie, she really hides things very well. For sure. I'm just pissed off. I'm pissed off about this move, for sure. And another thing, another P for 219 was the fact that the moment the quartet, which is Clary, Jace, Alec, and Isabel, the moment they told someone about Lakeland being the actual mortal mirror, it eventually got back to Valentine. I mean, when is a character ever going to learn that a secret stays a secret if you tell the fewest people possible? If you have an issue of... Hold on. Sorry. I mean, they even said the amount of people they trust is getting smaller by the day. Jace told his own grandmother that. It's just like, okay, shouldn't that tell you that, okay, maybe we shouldn't tell anybody outside the four of us? I mean, at least then the location of the last immortal instrument stays with the four of you. There's no way anyone would find out about it. There's no leaks anywhere. You don't have to worry about people eavesdropping. But no, they tell someone across from Idris, who then has to tell a guard to go guard a lake first off. The moment you put a guard detail on something as big as that, people are going to take notice. And guess what? Valentine find out that he had to go to Lakeland. So pretty much the moral of my rant is, if you want something to stay a secret, don't keep telling people. You keep it, you lock it deep down, maybe tell one person, but they have to lock it deep down in them too, and that's it. If your people know a secret, the more likely it's going to stay a secret. That's it, end of story. I mean, how hard is that not to understand? End rant. So sorry about that. So let's move on to what moment will I remember most when I look back on these two episodes. 218 is Jonathan's cover as Sebastian being blown at the Institute. 219 shows the hunt for Valentine and Jonathan. I'll probably remember the whole fight between the two JC boys. So Jace and Jonathan, if it were. Which is kind of funny too. And a little messed up that they're both named the same thing. Can you imagine being in the same class together? Jeez. Talk about confusion. Anyways, random questions. I got different sets for the two episodes. So for 218, first one is, what happened to Raphael's influence over Ollie? Or did his... I really don't know what to call it. I mean, I'm used to calling it compulsion from the Vampire Diaries and from the original. So for now, I'm just going to call it compulsion. But did Raphael's compulsion over Ollie, whatever happened to that? Or did he only do that pertaining to Simon's mistaken arrest in regards to that girl that was killed at the Bleeder Den? So there's that. Second question, it's not really a question, it's more of a prediction, but I sense a love triangle between Simon, Maya, and Bartholomew. I mean, based off how it was set up in that particular episode, I get the feeling that it could go that way, which I kind of don't because I'm happy with Simon and Maya together. But I could see it with Maya and Bartholomew maybe bonding, her trying to be a mentor to him and trying to help him with the transition, and then him maybe thinking it as something different, maybe gratitude and appreciation for other emotions. So that's a possibility there. I won't be surprised if it happens, so I'm just calling it now. Next question would be, will we see Jordan, Maya's ex-boyfriend slash werewolf attacker, pop up again later on, disrupting Maya's life even further if it were to come to that? I think so. Maybe not this season, but maybe when she's at a very high point in her life, he might pop back in if he's still alive. So there's that. And last question for 218. Why wasn't Luke more suspicious about Ollie picking the Jade Wolf as a date night spot? I mean, really? She shows up one random night claiming she needs help with paperwork, and then now she comes up another day with her girlfriend just to try the food. I mean, really? I'd be suspicious of the fact that, like, why are you here? Are you following me? Maybe keep a closer eye on her type of thing. But I guess he has more bigger issues than keeping a secret a secret. So there's that. Now for 219 though, first question is Jonathan actually dead? I think so from that fall, but I'm vaguely remembering the fact that he survived worse. Or maybe his time in Eden maybe affected how exactly he has to be killed to be permanently dead. So there's that. Next question. Did anyone else think that we saw Sebastian or Jonathan a little more unhinged whenever he's around Valentine than when he's off without him? I feel like when it's Sebastian and Valentine scenes, we see Jonathan a lot more. Sorry, I keep getting a little interrupted. It's been busy over here. So, what's my question? Oh, yeah. Anyone else getting the impression that every time Sebastian is with Valentine, you really see a more unhinged, unstable Jonathan in his presence? But whenever we see Sebastian with other people, and he seems more collected, like more focused and more stable than he is when he's around his father. So it's just wondering if that's really like something he controls, or if it's just he's actually as unhinged as he is when he's with Valentine. He just doesn't have to hide it as much as when he's with other people. So that's my question there. Next question would be, did the Seelie Queen take Maya back to the Seelie Court because of Simon's interest in Maya? Or like, do we have a jealous Seelie Queen going on? Or is this something even bigger, that she's using Maya as a leverage point? So there's that. Another question is, to create a Forsaken, is it any rune being drawn on a mundane that does it, or does it have to be the very first rune that a Shadowhunter gets in order to complete their rune ceremony? So that's another question there. I don't really remember the logistics behind it, since it was introduced in season 1. So there's that. And also a statement again, but I'm missing my Alec and Clary bro OTP, as it were. I'm missing those vibes that we had earlier on in season 2, in part A, I guess you could say. Wonder if anyone else misses those types of team up feels. I got a little bit of it, but not enough of it to. The big one was when Clary went up against Iris Rouse, and Alec was very protective over her about that. So I'm missing stuff like that. So anyways, moving on to predictions very quickly. Based off the promo for 220, which is the season finale, I noticed that there's a division between the Shadowhunters and the Downworld increasing. We see a dragon-like creature being summoned. We see Jace's eyes light up like when he's activating his runes without a stele. I also see Clary being positioned for a beheading in the woods. We see Sarah Hyland returning as the Seelie Queen once again. We see Clary screaming out in agony as if she just lost someone. And then it looks like Valentine raises the angel Raziel from Lakeland. So there is that. Now, based off the synopsis for 220, which I got from my TV series app from my tablet, it reads that Jace and Clary rush to make a final stand, but when a traitor is revealed, Jace and Clary may have a bigger fight on their hands than expected. Meanwhile, Alec and Izzy must fight off a large mass of demons that have unexpectedly shown up, as Luke and Simon head to the Seelie Court to deal with some unfinished business with the Seelie Queen. So, with all said and done, I haven't found any previews for the season finale, which makes sense. And because of that, I don't really have any questions. I'm definitely excited to see what the finale has in store. I'm glad that we do get a season 3. Plus, I'm also curious as to whether or not they actually merged Book 2 and Book 3, City of Ash and City of Glass, into this season. Because I'm vaguely remembering the fact that a lot of the Book 3 stuff, like the major showdowns and stuff, I'm pretty sure parts of it have already happened this season, especially pertaining to Jonathan and with the hunt for the mortal instruments happening. I feel like it's kind of been a merger of the 2 books. So I'm wondering if anyone else picked up on that, and maybe I have to go research again. But that's about it. What do you guys think of the 2 episodes? What do you guys like about what you think is going to happen next in the finale? Let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear your thoughts, theories, and predictions about what you think is going to happen next. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below. I read blog promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all that good stuff, all found in one place. So go check that out. I'm a little behind, but I will catch up. But it'll all be in one place for easy access for you guys. It's also connected to my WordPress account. Link for that is down below. It's a little more organized over there. It's connected to my other accounts if you want to check those out. Please and thank you. Otherwise, that's about it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope you come back next time to hear what I have to say about the season finale. There might be a delay on that on my end, but I still hope you come back and check it out. But until then, guys, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week wherever you are. Bye for now.